What do you think about the local MP, Jonathan Gullis?
Hate him with a passion.
Do you think he's done anything good for the local?
No. He keeps sending me a leaflet that said he's filled the potholes in. I don't think he has. I can't stand the bloke. He made a big error of judgment knocking on my door about a year ago, asking me how I was going to vote.
Oh yeah?
He won't do it again.
Stoke-on-Trent was once a world leader in fine ceramics, a skilled design trade that gave the area its affectionate name, the Potteries. Britain's deindustrialisation, begun by Thatcher but still seemingly a priority for successive governments since, not only saw the destruction of the pottery industry, but also the closure of the local steelworks, resulting in high unemployment and poverty. The local MP, Jonathan Gullis, has secured a number of levelling up grants for his constituency, but locals say it's had little effect on the number of jobs and breadth of opportunity in the area. You could say the 5 towns that make up Stoke are a case study in neoliberal economic policies, and in no place is this effect felt more acutely than on the local high street.
Yeah, so this shirt we did was based off a Biggie Smalls sweatshirt that he wore back in the 80s. It's been quite a popular shirt, and obviously it's good for local teams because it gets their name out there, and obviously we made a bit of money on it as well. So yeah, it was good coverage.
Where does this team play?
These play local, so these are more Newcastle-under-Lyme. These are, so they're probably about 10 or 15 minutes away from me. They're just like a smaller Sunday League team, but we do all the way up to the National League.
Tom is a small business owner in Beresford. On this deserted high street, he seems to be one of 3 shops that are open today.
We don't get much passing trade. It's not a great town. We'll be honest, we're here because it's cheap rent. The building's amazing, and there's some amazing buildings around. But there's a lot of drugs that go on, and a lot of drug dealing, a lot of people. We've had the windows smashed and broken into, so it isn't great for us in terms of high street presence, but we don't need it because we're predominantly online, so this is a showroom style shop. But yeah, if we could have the choice to pick somewhere better, we would. We probably will as we grow.
But still in Stoke?
Yes. Yeah, well, probably more Newcastle-under-Lyme way. So like ST5 way, this is where sort of we started from. We've moved over here because we had a lot of clubs up this way in Stoke. But obviously the rent was cheaper for us, and it was council owned, and it was a nice shop. We've had to spend a bit to it, but we've got sort of downstairs for storage and upstairs for an office space. So.
Are you hoping for, a government that's concerned with the high street, a government that perhaps might want to regenerate local high streets?
Yeah, a government that's interested in helping businesses, and I feel like sometimes self-employed people and business owners tend to it becomes harder. You get all the benefits, but it becomes harder in the long run. You know, I've got a friend at the minute he's had to shut his shop, and because he's had epilepsy in the past, he can't get any help from the government because he's not paid the correct national insurance. So it's a bit of a nightmare for him. So I feel like any government that, looks after business people and wants to promote people starting their own businesses, then that's great, because I feel like they want to try and sort of, at the minute, they don't want as many young people starting their own businesses and going for it. So anybody that helps support that, and definitely the high street shops, yeah, because at the minute round here it's just shocking.
Burslem and Tunstall are 2 former bustling market towns that sit in Jonathan Gullis's constituency. In recent years, the area has fallen into disrepair. Some of the work that Gullis has done includes a Stop the Rot campaign to regenerate the high street, mainly by putting the onus of disrepair onto local landlords. He also had this to say earlier this year in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Due to an increase in antisocial behaviour in the town of Tunstall, I was proud to work with local residents, over 500 of them, in order to gain the support for new CCTV, new alley gates and better street lighting through the Safer Streets funding. However, the Labour leader of Stoke-on-Trent City Council told me there'll be no money for Tunstall when I met with her. And to make matters worse, has dumped some undesirables in the Sneed Arms Hotel in the town centre. It's led to further criminal activity that's blighting high street stores up and down our community.
This is the hotel that Jonathan Gullis was speaking about there, and those undesirable people that he refers to are around 300 homeless people who the council have put up in this hotel because they've got nowhere else to sleep.
So Tunstall, when I go back to when I was a teenager and a young boy, this was full. And I mean, it was full of people, and there was markets down the centre, My grandparents used to shop at that market. My great-grandmother had a stall on that market, and now there's nothing. Literally, it's hanging on.
You know, I've just walked down there. There used to be toilets under the clock, and they actually had someone employed cleaning them, and you know, it was great. This be Woolworths, Hayden's. Less paying for parking doesn't help. People who go in the right pie shop for a pie come out with a parking ticket on the car, and they'll all be wondering why all the shops are shut, won't they soon?
We opened some 5 months ago, about the start of the year, and we are getting there, getting settled. People are lovely, and we do get a few shoplifters here and there. Rent is actually, I think, okay. I think it would be on the average. I mean, you're looking at area is not the best. So for what we are paying here, I think it's fair. I would like to see more investment in terms of these that are still closed. Can we do more to open them up and people feel more comfortable to come in and do all kinds of shopping, maybe a meal out or something like that. If it's appealing to come to, it's appealing to the eyes, I think people will be interested in coming. Just the area, we could do with some shops coming, landlords investing and opening up shops, because we have so many that are closed. And the MP, could he do more?
Stoke-on-Trent has been hammered by industries leaving the area over the past few decades, mostly the pottery industry. At the moment, it's still got two big companies operating in Jonathan Gullis's constituency. One is Johnson's Tiles and the other one is JCB, which is an international construction firm. But this won't be here for much longer. It's actually relocating to the East Midlands. Now, when Johnson's Tiles decided that it wanted to relocate, Jonathan Gullis was particularly upset about this. He said that it was going to be very damaging for the area, and so he got in contact with Kemi Badenoch, who is a cabinet minister. When JCB said that it was relocating, Jonathan Gullis was suspiciously quiet. And you wonder, did that have anything to do with the £10,000 donation that the company made into his office? You've got huge giants like JCB, who are still here currently but are leaving. Does that concern you?
Absolutely it does, because when I'm speaking to young people want to stay in a local community. They want to stay in Stoke North, they want to stay in Kidsgrove. But sadly, there's a lot of low-paid, insecure work. Labour's got a plan in terms of our working deal for people to make sure we have better terms and conditions. And the one thing, if I get elected, I'll be fighting for is to make sure we bring in those high-quality, high-paid jobs. There's lots of opportunity out there, we just need to make sure we bring it to the local community. And an example of that would have been, obviously, the green industry. I want to make sure Stoke benefits from the opportunities around green technology.
So pulling in industry, that's your plan?
Absolutely.
I thought it was written into the Bible that JCB couldn't move.
I think the frustrating part about being British and those sort of industries that we have is the fact that we never remain competitive.
Do you think that this area has a wealth of jobs?
No, it's a very low paid area, warehousing at best, isn't it? And it's terrible.
I'm certain you will be going out to speak to people. People will feel let down. I mean, the reality around here is we've had £270 million taken out of Stoke City council budgets. They talk about levelling up. It's a drop in the ocean compared to what they've taken away.
Hang on, let's pause there. So there's been £270 million taken out of council budgets. What has been the repercussions of that?
Well, services have closed down. I mean, my route into politics, I worked for our Sure Start family centres in the early 2000s. Those centres were fantastic. You know, they stopped kids going into care. It offered that family support. Since 2010, the cuts happened. Those services start to get hollowed out. So you end up with buildings but no services. You look at mental health services. When I used to campaign around mental health services for young people, a young person might wait 12 weeks, and I used to think it was terrible that a young person will wait 12 weeks for a service. It's now 18 months to 2 years to access even CAM services. So you can really see the impact on the community about what austerity has meant in Stoke, and the kind of gimmick around levelling up. If you speak to people, they don't feel it. They see the services have closed down. The amount of money in the pot has dwindled massively. So we've got increasing demand, less money coming in, and that's down to the Conservatives, and that's political decisions by the Conservative Party.
Can I ask you who you're voting for in the upcoming election? Labour.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what's attracting you to them?
Nothing's attracting me to them, but I hate the Conservatives.
Traditionally Conservative, but at the moment, a little undecided.
What's swaying you?
I mean, the government's been in power for quite a long time, and a lot of issues that have been arisen that we keep getting promises on, whether that's energy bills, like you said, regeneration, levelling up, immigration hasn't really been tackled. We've squandered loads on like HS2 and things like that, which have ended up on the sidelines. So I just don't think, and the NHS, I don't think things have been tackled sufficiently by the current government. There needs to be more hardline.
Can I ask you, are you voting in the upcoming election?
I'm going to be entirely honest, no.
Why is that?
Because I don't trust any of them. All the manifestos are all made up, and when they do have something decent, they don't do it anyway.
What do you think about the local MP, Jonathan Gullis?
Hate him with a passion.
Can I actually just ask you briefly about Jonathan Gullis?
And he is.
He is the current Conservative MP. He's also a very anti-immigration MP, very pro-Brexit. If you don't know who he is, it actually doesn't matter, because I was going to ask you what you thought of him, but...
I have no clue who he is, so he obviously isn't doing the right job, because I've lived in Stoke-on-Trent all my life and I have no clue. So he's not reaching everybody, is he?